various things that can happen in a family is someone who may have Alzheimer's or have a child or a person with autism or Down syndrome or any other ailment where they kind of lose balance of where they're headed and can get lost and suddenly it can become a real crisis. This man, Mr. Rob McDonald, is part of a program called Project Lifesaver. Tell me a little bit about it. Well, first of all, thanks for coming on the show. We want to make sure these folks understand exactly what we have in Bella Vista that can provide a service.
Well, several years ago there was a show of the remodeling, extreme makeover remodeling, and one of the children there had Down syndrome, and because of that, several people here in the county, including Doug Gay, who's head of the search and rescue for Benton County Sheriff, got together and found out about a program called Project Lifesaver. And we were able, through funding, through grants and other things, to get it off the ground. Basically what we'll do is we're going to put a transmitter, just like this, on a Down's patient syndrome, autistic.
So this is the transmitter right here?
That's it.
It's kind of like a watch band. So it just fits any arm with no problem, and
right.
You just wear it like a watch, right?
Right, and we put it on with as you can see, a hospital type band, so they can't take it off.
Okay.
Alzheimer's patients have a tendency to regress in their mind, and so they get a job that they have to do, a task, and they leave. And when that happens, the caregiver doesn't know where they are. With this on, the Bella Vista Police and the Benton County Sheriff have a receiver that would pick up the little transmission that this transmitter puts out, and are able to find them and bring them home.
Now this is on a radio frequency, so all of individuals who have the transmitter on, that's their individual channel.
Exactly.
So you'll be able to tell, if you were to look at it, you could tell who's wearing it and where, right?
Exactly. And what we do is we do each one has the frequency, a 3-digit frequency that the Bella Vista Police and the Benton County Sheriff, their receivers, are able to track that particular bracelet.
Give me an example of how this has worked.
Recently, we had a gentleman who lives in Avoca, which is just a little east of here, a rural area. 2:30 in the morning, he went out to feed his cows. Well, the gentleman didn't have any cows. It took us 22 minutes to find him and bring him home through Project Lifesaver. And of course, it was a very cold night. He had just bedroom slippers on and pajamas, so he probably would have had some problems if we hadn't been able to find him as quick as we did.
So the process is, this gentleman had the receiver on. In his mind, he needed to go feed the cows, and he just kind of slips out of the house.
That's right. And when his wife found out that he was not there, she called 911. 911 has the information, contacts the Benton County Sheriffs and the Bella Vista Police. They use their receiving equipment to find him and bring him home.
Now, the coordination of the networking of this is real important too, isn't it? As far as what kind of information you have on this gentleman.
Exactly. When we start out, St. Theodore's Episcopal Church here in Bella Vista administers the program, and they go out and they interview each of the potential clients. We have a 5-page questionnaire profile that tells us about the person.
Okay.
Because the more we know and that we can pass on to the sheriff and to the police department, enables them to do a better job. We also have a contract that they sign so that we can get additional information out there, and we take a picture, then they bring it back and send it to the CENTCOM, which is 911, the Benton County Sheriff, and the Bella Vista Police, so they have information on the person.
So they'll pull the file up, it'll have a picture of the person, it'll have they're diabetic, or they can't see well, or they have a limp, or any of those kind of things that would be important to know.
Exactly.
If you're searching.
Exactly. And as with an Alzheimer's patient, like I said, they regress. Let's say that it was a lady and she was a librarian. Well, she thinks she has to go to the library. Mm-hmm. Of course she doesn't, and they have a tendency to go towards woods and water, and she's going to roam to try and find that library. Well, we're able to find them and bring her home quickly and safely.
Now, what is the range of the receiver?
The receiver on the ground, the transmitter range is about a mile.
Okay.
We also have a receiver that can go in a helicopter and increases the range to 5 miles.
Okay, so let me give you a scenario. Somebody asked me about this morning. If you were to have someone gets in a car and takes off, what kind of problem does that present?
Well, it does present a little bit of a problem. Hopefully we'll get an idea of because of their profile, where they might be going. Then we would probably send out 2 teams. Each team has an antenna that is omnidirectional, and then they will try and hone in that way. Versus once they get on the ground and have a signal located, then they get a directional antenna which is able to pick up the signal, and the stronger the signal, the closer they are.
So you can still find someone then if they were to take off in an automobile. A little more complicated, but there is a way to do it.
Right.
Okay, how is the synergy between the departments? I mean, the Benton County Sheriff's Department and Bella Vista Police Department, do they both have the same information, or do they both have the same transmitters?
Everything is the same for both of them. They were trained at the same time. The funding has come actually through both departments, some of the funding. But the main thing is the cooperation between the two has been great because of the fact that they're looking at the greater good.
Sure.
It's one of the few projects out there, or things that can help save money and lives. A normal search and rescue runs about 12 hours at a cost of over $2,000 an hour. Well, if they're able to use 4 people in under an hour, a lot of money saved that way, isn't it? Plus the 100% return rate nationwide, that the success that they've had.
Now, we talked about funding. You said there's money that comes in to help buy the equipment. How does that funding work? What kind of expenses are we talking about?
Well, each one of these transmitters costs about $300. The receivers run about $2,500 a piece.
Wow.
And the training and other things cost us some money. But we only charge $100 to join, and then $25 a month for the volunteer to go out and change the battery. The caregiver has to check the battery every day to make sure that the equipment is working. Otherwise, it doesn't do any good.
Right.
And we go out and check the battery change the battery once a month, and see if there's any changes in the client. That way, with the $25, it helps us keep the money flowing. We've also had a lot of luck through, we had a golf tournament fundraiser. The local Walmarts have given us some money, Rotary and some of the churches. And like I said, we don't have any administrative costs because the administrator at St. Theodore's also administrates for us.
So between volunteers and donations and things of that sort, it's well funded then?
Right.
And is the service limited to people who can pay that $25 a month?
No, that's exactly why we have the fundraisers and get the donations, so that we don't turn anybody away. We currently have 9 clients. 3 of them are children, and one of the girls has Down syndrome, but she also is allergic to, she's gluten allergic. So like a loaf of rice bread costs $6. Can't ask people like that to.
Right.
So that's why we go out and raise money for scholarships, so we don't turn anybody away.
So with only a few people using the services right now, probably there are more people who could use it. They just don't know it's available.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And we try, and we've to go out and talk about Project Lifesaver programs like this. We have speakers available that can go to churches, men's clubs, women's club, Rotary, Lions, things like that, so that we get out there and tell our story.
Okay, that's great. That's phenomenal. I mean, these are programs that you can get involved with. Do you need more volunteers as well?
Yeah, from every time that we have a new client, we need a new volunteer, because each volunteer is assigned a client. Or each client is assigned a volunteer.
Okay, so there's a volunteer that makes sure that the batteries are right, and they do a little upgrade on the profiling and everything there. So we always have current information on the clients.
Exactly. Yeah, and if there's a change, like with the children, as they grow older, we'll take a new picture about every 2 years.
Right. Yeah, or get older, you change a little bit too. We all know that, don't we, Ron? Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. Now, if someone needs to get in touch with you or whoever we need to get in touch with, how do we get involved in this?
Well, you can either contact the Benton County Sheriff, Doug Gay, the Bella Vista Police Department, Lieutenant Ryan Harmon, or call St. Theodore's Episcopal Church and talk to the administrator, and we can help them